Right now, somewhere in your body, a chemical is being released that your ancestors only felt 3 or 4 times in their entire life. You feel it before you open your inbox. You feel it when your phone buzzes during a meeting. You feel it at 11 p.m., staring at a ceiling, replaying a sentence your boss said 8 hours ago. That chemical is not new, but the amount of it you're carrying is. Your brain thinks it's in danger. It isn't. It's just at work. Here's the strange part. Nothing about your job is actually trying to kill you. No predator is crouched behind your desk. No storm is coming for your office. And yet your body responds to a passive-aggressive email the same way it would respond to a snake in the grass. Why would evolution do that to you? The answer is that it didn't. Evolution never built you for this. It built you for something else entirely, something you haven't lived in for a very long time, and the mismatch between the two is quietly wearing you down. Let's go back. Not centuries, not even millennia. Go back roughly 200,000 years to the environment your brain was actually designed to survive in. You wake up with the light. There is no alarm. There is no inbox. Your task for the day is simple and physical. Find food, avoid becoming food, stay close to your group. Anthropologist Herman Pontzer, who spent years studying the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies on Earth, found something that surprised almost everyone in his field. The Hadza walked for miles a day, hunted, gathered, carried, climbed, and yet their total daily energy expenditure was almost identical to that of a sedentary office worker in New York or London. Not because their bodies were more efficient in some magical way, but because the human body evolved to budget energy carefully, to spend it on movement and recover through deep rest, unbroken sleep, and long stretches of unstructured time. Notice what's missing from that picture. There's no deadline, there's no performance review, there's no metric quietly comparing you to 12 other people applying for the same promotion. Your ancestors faced real danger, yes, but the danger arrived in short, sharp bursts. A predator, a rival tribe, a storm, and then it was over. Their stress system was built like a light switch. On, then off. Threat, then recovery. Your stress system is still that same switch, but your environment forgot to teach it how to turn off. Think about your actual workday. The threat isn't a lion, it's a Slack notification. It's a calendar invite titled Quick Sync with no agenda. It's the silence after you send a message and nobody replies. None of these things can hurt you, but your nervous system doesn't know that. It reads ambiguity as danger, because for most of human history, ambiguity was danger. Not knowing what that rustle in the bushes was could get you killed. So your brain evolved to treat uncertainty itself as a threat worth responding to. Now stack 100 of those uncertainties into a single 8-hour day. An unclear message from a manager, a missed deadline, a meeting that could have been an email. Each one triggers the same ancient switch. Cortisol rises, heart rate climbs, attention narrows, and unlike your ancestors, you don't get to run, fight, or rest afterward. You get to sit very still in a chair and keep typing. Neuroendocrinologist Robert Sapolsky spent decades studying this exact gap. His research on stress physiology, much of it built on comparisons between wild baboons and modern humans, led him to a conclusion that sounds almost too simple to be true. Zebras, he pointed out, get stressed when a lion is chasing them, and their stress hormones spike dramatically. But the moment the danger passes, their body resets almost immediately. Humans are different. We can trigger that same hormonal spike just by imagining a bad outcome, replaying an awkward conversation, or dreading a meeting that hasn't happened yet. Our threats aren't just physical anymore. They're rehearsed in our own minds, and rehearsed threats keep the switch stuck in the on position for hours, sometimes days. Is it any wonder you feel exhausted after a day where you barely moved? Your job asks something of your brain that it was never designed to give. Sustained, low-grade vigilance, hour after hour, with almost no physical release valve. You sit, you focus, you suppress irritation, you smile in a meeting you didn't want to attend. Every one of those tiny acts of self-control draws from the same limited pool of mental energy your ancestors would have spent tracking prey or reading a storm on the horizon. Except they spent it in short bursts, followed by real rest. You spend it continuously, followed by a different screen. There's a second mismatch, and this one might sting a little more. Your brain evolved to function inside small, tight-knit groups. Anthropologist Robert Dunbar spent years researching the cognitive limits of human social bonds, and his findings pointed to a now famous number, roughly 150. That's the estimated ceiling on the number of relationships a human brain can meaningfully track and maintain, the number small enough that everyone knows your name, your reputation, your history. Your ancestors lived their entire lives inside a group of that size or smaller. Trust was built slowly, over years, through direct interaction. Now look at your workplace. Hundreds of employees you'll never speak to. A manager who reviews your performance through a spreadsheet, not a relationship. Coworkers on other continents whose faces you've only seen in a small rectangle on a screen. Your brain wasn't built to feel safe in a structure like that. It was built to know its tribe, to read faces, to sense loyalty through years of shared effort. So when your job feels cold, transactional, or strangely lonely even when you're surrounded by people, that's not a personal failure. That's your social wiring encountering an environment 10 times larger than anything it was calibrated for. Here's where it gets more interesting. Evolutionary psychologists Leda Cosmides and Tooby, whose work laid much of the foundation for the entire field of evolutionary psychology, describe this exact phenomenon with a term that has quietly reshaped how scientists understand modern struggle. They called it evolutionary mismatch. The idea is simple. Your brain and body were shaped by an environment that existed for hundreds of thousands of years. But the environment you actually live in changed dramatically in the last few hundred. Agriculture, cities, factories, offices, screens. All of it arrived far too recently for evolution to catch up. You are, quite literally, a Stone Age brain operating inside a software update it never asked for. This explains so much more than burnout. It explains why an unread message can spike your heart rate. It explains why praise from a boss you barely respect can still feel good. Because status within the group mattered enormously to your ancestors' survival. It explains why open plan offices, despite being marketed as collaborative, often leave people more anxious and less productive. Your brain evolved to detect who's watching you, and in an open office, everyone is always watching, all the time. That's not a modern inconvenience, that's an ancient threat detector working exactly as designed, just aimed at the wrong target. So what do you do with this? You can't quit civilization. You can't go live in the savannah and call it self-care. But you can start closing the gap. Notice when your body reacts to something that isn't actually dangerous. A tense email. A quiet Slack channel. Name it for what it is. An ancient alarm misfiring in a modern building. That single act of recognition, psychologists have found, can lower the intensity of the stress response almost immediately, because your brain calms down slightly once it understands the threat isn't real. Move your body during the day, even briefly. Not because it burns calories, but because movement is the off switch your nervous system was designed to expect after a stress spike. Your ancestors ran from the threat. You can at least walk around the block from yours. Shrink your circle. You don't need meaningful connection with 300 coworkers. You need 2 or 3 people at work who feel like your actual tribe. People whose names you'd recognize in a crowd of strangers, because that's the number your brain was built to find safety in. And give yourself permission to switch off completely, not partially. Your ancestors never checked email at 9 p.m., just in case. When the sun went down, the workday was over, because it had to be. Borrow that boundary. Your brain still expects it, even if your job doesn't. None of this means your job is wrong, or that ambition is a mistake, or that you should feel guilty for wanting to succeed inside the world you actually live in. It means the exhaustion you feel isn't proof that something is broken in you. It's proof that something ancient in you is still trying to protect you, using tools built for a world that no longer exists. So tonight, when you close your laptop and that low hum of tension doesn't immediately fade, remember this. That chemical, the one being released right now, before you've even opened your inbox, isn't a flaw. It's 200,000 years of survival instinct doing exactly what it was built to do, in a world it was never built for.